The tunnel incident. In 1997 in Paris, a Mercedes-Benz 280 sped through the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. Inside were 3 passengers of renown, among them Diana, Princess of Wales. The driver, chased by paparazzi, lost control in the curve. The impact against the concrete pillar was devastating. The car crumpled like a crushed can. The front folded halfway, the chassis locked into the pillar. The driver died instantly, the bodyguard was gravely injured, and Diana, trapped in the back seat, suffered massive internal injuries. Witnesses saw her head slam violently into the seat in front, knocking her unconscious while twisted metal pinned her down. Rescuers took over an hour to free her, and though she was still breathing, the internal bleeding was already unstoppable. She died in the hospital shortly after. A common tunnel, a senseless chase, and a life erased with the crash of steel against stone. Moral: it doesn't matter if you're royalty or anonymous. The road never recognizes crowns. The Fireball Incident. Los Angeles, 2013. Paul Walker, star of Fast Furious, climbed into the passenger seat of a Porsche Carrera GT. His friend at the wheel pressed the accelerator down a quiet street. The roar of the German engine quickly turned to screams of terror. Within seconds, the car lost control and slammed into a tree. The crash was brutal, but the worst came after. The fuel tank ruptured, and the vehicle exploded into flames. Witnesses saw the bodywork burning like a giant torch. Paul and the driver were trapped in their seats, immobilized by the twisted frame. The flames consumed everything in minutes. The heat was so intense that firefighters couldn't even approach at first. What they found later were charred remains, unrecognizable. The scene became a cruel reminder that what looks controlled and thrilling on screen, in real life, ends with fire, smoke, and silence. Moral: speed gives you adrenaline, but it also turns asphalt into a crematorium. The Highway Pile-Up Incident. In 2002, on England's M5 motorway, fog covered the road like a solid wall. Dozens of cars drove blindly forward until a truck braked suddenly. What followed was a hellish domino effect. More than 50 vehicles piled up. The first impacts crushed chassis, launched cars into the air, and hurled bodies against windshields. Some vehicles were literally flattened under multi-ton trucks. Within seconds, the motorway became a heap of metal, fire, and screams. Survivors described nightmarish scenes. People trapped, screaming from inside twisted steel. Others crushed beyond movement. Bodies hanging halfway out of windows. The smell of spilled fuel mixed with the thick smoke of fire spreading between cars. Dozens died. Many burned alive before rescuers could reach them. Others were so mutilated they could barely be identified. Moral: you don't need to fly to see hell. Sometimes driving in heavy fog is enough. The Rally Incident. Galicia, Spain, 2015. During a rally race, hundreds of fans crowded a tight corner to watch cars blast through at high speed. The excitement lasted seconds. A Peugeot 206 lost control, entering the bend too fast. The car skidded over gravel, spun out, and shot straight into the crowd. It wasn't just a crash, it was a massacre. The vehicle plowed through spectators like ragdolls. The windshield shattered against bodies, the bodywork smeared with blood instantly. 6 people died on the spot, including a child, and more than a dozen were gravely injured. The silence after was overwhelming, broken only by sobs and screams from those who had just watched friends and family die in front of them. The car, wrecked, sat mangled in the ditch. The driver, in shock, couldn't speak a word. What was meant to be a celebration of speed turned into an improvised killing ground. Moral: the line between adrenaline and tragedy is thinner than a badly taken curve. The Le Mans Inferno Incident. France, 1955. The 24 Hours of Le Mans was in full swing, a celebration of speed and engineering. Then, in a blink, it became the deadliest motorsport accident in history. Pierre Levesque's Mercedes 300 SLR clipped another car, launched into the air, and disintegrated as it hit a wall. The hood, engine block, and front axle turned into shrapnel. Debris sliced into the crowd with the force of bullets. People were decapitated, limbs severed, bodies shredded in an instant. The fuel tank ruptured, and the magnesium body of the car ignited into a fireball so hot that attempts to extinguish it only made the flames worse. Spectators burned alive where they stood, unable to escape the packed grandstand. The driver, Levesque, was killed instantly, his body torn apart in the cockpit. When the smoke cleared, more than 80 people lay dead, and over 100 were injured. The race continued. But for those who witnessed it, the sound of engines was forever replaced by the screams of the dying. Moral: speed might thrill, but sometimes it slaughters entire crowds in seconds. 5 scenes, 5 deaths, each one showing that cars are more than machines. They're steel coffins waiting for the wrong second, the wrong turn, the wrong crash. Whether you're a princess, a Hollywood star, a driver in fog, a fan at a rally, or just a spectator at a race the road and speed itself, never forgive.